Good morning. It is time for Coffee on the Coast. I'm your host this morning, Tina Prigge. I am delighted to be joined by the music director of the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra, Dylan Chmura-Moore, and we're talking about 70 years of the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra. Dylan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I got to say, I think my favorite thing about today is going to be us starting this show. I wish you recorded it even before you hit play because you had a countdown and it made me so happy. You were so happy. You were like, 3, 2, 1, and we began. It was amazing.
Well, I love it. I'm so excited because I want people to know about what is happening, right? Like, I'm going to put up this graphic. This has a little symphony fact that Manitowoc is the smallest Wisconsin city with its own symphony orchestra. Like, that's huge and it's special, right? We don't have to have a symphony orchestra. We have it because there's talented people that believe in it and that share their talents, like you, like the musicians, like everyone behind the scenes to make it happen. And so you have a concert coming up and people should know about it so that they can attend it and enjoy it and feel the music. Because you had this quote the other day when you were on the radio. You said, music is the be all end all best cool thing ever.
Can we get a shirt for that? Can I get a coffee mug with that on it, please? Well, let me go back a second. The smallest Wisconsin city, it might be the smallest city in the United States that has an orchestra, professional orchestra. I mean, there's community orchestras and things like that elsewhere, but we have a legit professional, awesome sounding, top-notch, be-all, best ever orchestra. And it's not just Wisconsin. And that it says a lot of the metal about the Lakeshore, about Manitowoc, about Two Rivers, the exurbs or whatever. I mean, it says about what people care about, and people have cared about this orchestra for 70 years, about great art, great music making for 70 years, and let's not trivialize that. Let's celebrate. Yeah. Let's blow out some candles. Let's have a noisemaker. Let's do all those balloon drops. Maybe we can have a balloon drop at the concert. Why didn't I think about that before?
Well, it's not too late because the concert is going to be Saturday, April 9th at 7:30 p.m. So it is not too late to get tickets. It's going to be at the Capitol Civic Center. I'm just going to put a quick plug that you can get tickets at cccshows.org. Again, it's 70 years of the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra. The concert's called Our Sound, and it's Saturday, April 9th. Tell us why it's called Our Sound.
Well, first, I want to do some more heavy lifting on the tickets, if you don't mind. One is also tickets on our website, of course, CC Shows. You can be an in-person individual if that's who you are and just walk to the box office. The box office is now open again after the pandemic. So you can just go in and talk to someone, shake someone's hand, buy a ticket in person. And if you are 35 or under, we're trying something new this year. Hopefully we do it forever. Tickets are $10 if you're 35 and under. So it's cheaper than going to see the new Marvel film that's out right now. I mean, come out and hear your orchestra. And not only do you hear the great music, of course, you get it's a whole evening of thing. Maybe you go out in town and have a nice dinner. It's one of your favorite spots in the city. You come early, 6:45. Our very famous Manitowoc's own Jim Miller will be presenting an Informants. That's his name, not my name, where he offers information in a performative manner, I suppose, that gives you the background to some of these pieces in an interactive way. He makes music on the stage. This is in the stage. This is in the hall. He makes music on the stage and tells you the facts about a lot of this music. And so you're more learned going into it. You have a better perspective of what you're about to hear, and I think it makes for a more meaningful experience. You go to the concert. You have fun at intermission. You can bring your drinks, of course, into the hall. And afterwards, there's usually an after party somewhere right around the Capitol. One of our I think probably the Courthouse Pub is sponsoring it this time. We all go out afterwards, have a nightcap. There's usually some special made drink just for us, for the event, for the concert. And heavy apps, they keep the kitchen open late. And so from morning, or not morning, maybe from morning, we can pregame. Well, let's tailgate. Let's do that. From dinner to Jim Miller to the music to the after party, it's a good time. It's a whole thing. I think music is about people and bringing people together, and so that's why I think it's more than just an hour and a half of music or whatever.
Yeah, and so much good information there to unpack. Let's talk a little bit for a second about Jim Miller and the Informants. This is pretty cool. It starts at 6:45. So the show starts at 7:30. So 45 minutes prior, at 6:45, in the Mertens Lounge, Jim Miller, who is a local historian who has been a music educator his entire life, presents information, this, drops this knowledge bomb about what the symphony is going to do. I talked to him
Can we get a
recently.
graphic for that in post-production? Can you do one of those?
Next time
Okay.
I'll be prepared. But so he's going to be talking all about Brahms, which is really the second half of the show, and how cool to go into this incredible music performance armed with this knowledge. And what I didn't know previously is that's just part of your ticket. So you buy your ticket to see the symphony, and this informants beforehand is included. It's amazing.
Everyone should be there. When I came to a concert before, I was invited to be the music director. I'm going to check it out. What am I getting myself into? Is this a bad idea? I don't know. Anyhow, of course it's not. I'm so happy. And I went to Jim Miller's informants because let's get the full picture, of course. And there must have been 150 people in the just renovated Mertens Lounge. Like maybe it wasn't even Mertens Lounge yet. I'm not sure. But there was 150 people there. It was packed. People love this. And so if you've never been to one, you definitely should go. Part of the ticket. It's a good time. And you'll still have a bathroom break before the concert starts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you get to see amazing scenes like this. This is a shot of Dylan Chmura-Moore conducting the orchestra. I love this. There's so much energy and so much passion. And Dylan, what do you think? Like, here's another shot kind of from the performer's side. It's so interesting to see how rapt the attention is. I mean, they're like at your fingertips, the smallest motion. It's incredible.
So I have our next a few social media hits if you want with you know how the New Yorker has caption contests where you can they put up a cartoon without any words and then people can add their own captions to it. I think maybe we need to do that for these conductor picks. Let's can you put up one again? Can you just put whichever one you want? All right. So either it's what I'm thinking, what our soloist Andrew Dunlap is thinking, or what one of our musicians are thinking. Am I thinking about my mayonnaise, and cheese sandwich I had earlier? I'm not sure. Is Andrew thinking about that my pocket square should be a little higher? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that could go in there. I feel like there's Michael DeHurst playing cello there in the back that you can see pretty easily with that kind of like bigger goatee kind of thing. Is he thinking about, I don't know, Ratatouille? I feel like there's jokes we can make that I'm not very skilled at, but I feel like we can make this a competition.
There is a great look on his face, and this one too.
I'm flying. What's this quote from Titanic? Where they're on the tip of the boat. I'm the king of the world. Is that what she's like? I'm the king of the world. I feel like that's a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Well, and what's special about this year is you're celebrating 70 years. So it's kind of this, happy birthday symphony. Hey there. So the symphony started as a civic orchestra back in 1951, 1952. And here we are in 2022, which is amazing that there was the foresight. Started, by Carl Miller. So I understand that one of the pieces that you're doing is going to be a piece that was performed at that very first concert.
Two of them, yes.
Tell us more.
Once upon a time, one could not make a living being a professional musician, except for unless you were like a traveling soloist, superstar, international people. There were just community orchestras everywhere. I mean, in Chicago and New York, this is every single orchestra across the nation. Every orchestra was a civic orchestra. Every band was a civic band. It was about the people, for the people, and that's just what it was. And so Carl Miller comes to town. He got a job conducting the high schools at Lincoln. No, Lincoln. I was thinking Washington. We used to have our rehearsals at Washington, so that was in my head. So at Lincoln, he was conducting the high school orchestras, and he realized that there was this void here. There's great music making in the schools. Let's continue this in the community. Let's have some civic music making in our community. So we started this orchestra in 1951, first concert in 1952, and in thinking about this concert and thinking about our 70 years and honoring where we've been, what better way to honor that by looking into our past, into our archives, and unearthing some of the things that were played in memorable situations. And so in 1952, two of the pieces we played for our first concert was a work by Beethoven, the hero, the idol Beethoven. The piece that we're going to play that was played then is an overture from a ballet he wrote titled "The Creatures of Prometheus." Humans were the creatures of Prometheus, if you're unaware. The Prometheus myth from Greek mythology, right? Prometheus steals fire away from Zeus, away from the gods, and gives us the fire, gives us poor souls fire, that we are uncivilized, we're barbaric, we're living in caves, whatever. Gives us fire, and with that fire, we're able to have freedom and liberty and create things, science, medicine, arts, all those kinds of things. So we have to thank Prometheus for us being us. And in some ways, maybe it's a little bit too highfalutin and I'm on my high horse, but maybe the orchestra, the MSO, or music making or art in general, is the fire which inspires a great civility and communal life, which we have in Manitowoc on the lakeshore. So I don't know, maybe the Prometheus myth is also, I see the orchestra as being part of the Prometheus myth. Anyhow, so that's one of the things. The other thing is we're playing this piece, this wonderful tribute to Broadway, Gigi, by the very famous team of Lerner and Lowe, who gave us My Fair Lady and a bunch of other things. And Gigi won like 9 Grammys. No, it wasn't Grammys then, because it was movie first. Thank you. Sorry. Academy Awards, Oscars is what it is. Those awards, and was the most award-winning movie of all time. When it was first premiered, and to bring that back, kind of pre-feminist kind of commentary, which is very cool. You have to read my program notes, come to the show, that we're bringing back both of these 2 works from 1952 are awesome. But not just that, 2 more works in the first half we bring back from also our archives, which is from 1987, when the CCC was first renovated into its more-ish glorious that it is today. Of course, we have Act 2, but Act 1 was 1987, and we were part of the first concert back there, and so we have 2 more pieces from there. A wonderful romp, dance, as well as a liturgical piece that realizes the import of being around for 7 years. So we've got highs, we've got lows, we've got just carefree dances and everything in between.
That's so cool. So you're pulling in this repertoire from throughout the 70 years. So in 1987, that's when, the Capitol became the jewel on the lakeshore. Where did the symphony perform before that? Was it at the Capitol Civic Center, or was it a totally different location?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I feel bad about this. I should know this answer. I don't know.
Okay, fantastic. That's okay. So we're talking about,
if anybody has the answer, leave it in the comments.
Yes, please do. Please do, if you know the answer. Because I think before that, it was a movie theater. Like, I can remember going to see movies. I don't know if it was still a stage. I have no idea where the symphony performed.
I know the symphony played on the Capitol Civic Center's stage before 1987, but I don't know if it was their home.
Okay.
Leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments. Yes, we want to know. We want to know. So one more time, I want to let everyone know we're talking about Our Sound. It's the upcoming Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra concert. It is on Saturday, April 9th, 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available now, or if you're, intrepid and brave, you can even wait until the night of and walk in and get your tickets. It's amazing too, Dylan. What you told us is that if you're 35 and under, a ticket is only $10. If I dye my hair, do you think I could pass for?
Yes. Even if you didn't dye your hair. And so that's all the first half. That's the music on the first half. The big heavy thing, the second half of the concert, after intermission, after you take part in a raffle, pick up another beverage, and support our educational endeavors. The second half is we're playing Brahms's big, gigantic, momentous Symphony No. 1. It was so big, it was so important to the history of music. Brahms being one of the big threes, Beethoven, Bach, and Brahms. People called it Beethoven's 10th Symphony. It, of course, respects the past, which is one reason why we do it, respects Beethoven being considered Beethoven's 10th Symphony. But it also is pretty revolutionary in a lot of ways. It's like the first purely romantic thing that came about symphonically in the 1800s. And what it did is it kind of opened the door, I think, for all of the musicians in the modern era, pop, all jazz, I mean, everything afterwards. It opened the door that you could be your own individual and create anew. So we play Brahms, of course, to honor the past in our past 70 years, but it's also in a way to set the stage to move into the future. Well, every orchestra has its own sound, for sure. And every music director and orchestra and players, they have their own relationship and create their own sound. We think the Berlin Phil sounds different than the whatever Paris Radio Symphony Orchestra, and Chicago sounds different than London, and so forth. Thank you for those picks. Keep on scrolling. And so there's a uniqueness to an orchestra, because I think music and the people on stage performing, it's a two-way street with the audience. The audience means a lot to the music making. Great music, I think, changes an audience. A great audience changes the music making, and around it goes in this awesome cycle. And so I think Manitowoc sounds unique because of the people who are in the orchestra and the people who have supported it. So in putting forward this Brahms, one of the things we're doing is we're starting this, knock on wood, I guess, that we are, wait, can you hear the piano? Anyhow, knocking on the piano. One of the reasons why we're doing these Brahms is we're looking forward to our 75th anniversary and beyond, and that me and the orchestra can develop a long-standing rapport with each other. If you play music all over the place, you don't really form a sound, but if you can play the same sort of music repetitively over a number of years, you can start to develop more of a synergy and more of a sound. And so next year, hopefully, we're going to play Brahms' second. The next year, hopefully Brahms' third, and the next year Brahms' fourth. And so it's a big cycle that we're going to be embarking on, leading us into the future, opening the door again, if you will, towards more of a sure, again, unique sound, but tailored to the people that are there, us on stage and also us in the audience, which goes back to another reason why we're playing 70 years, supporting 70 years, and a 70th birthday party that's coming up. Is it's a way of saying thanks in a lot of ways. We've got all of our musicians that have made music with the orchestra over 70 years, all of our maestros, all of our boards, our volunteers, all of our sponsors that have made all this music possible, and most perhaps importantly would be the audiences involved. And so we need to make music. That's what we do. So come on out and hear us and pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, Dylan, I love how you described the relationship too with the conductor and the musicians, and as a group that continued music building together. Because it's interesting, the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra, you're only the fourth maestro in 70 years. So there really is that like longevity and that development, which is a beautiful thing. And then you mentioned a birthday party. So let's tell everybody, you are invited to come and celebrate the 70th birthday of the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra at a special birthday celebration. Now, this is going to be April 23rd from 6 to 10 p.m. It's going to be at the new venue at Union Square. And I understand that the band Outta Time is going to be playing, that there's going to be all sorts of games, delicious appetizers, and it's only $70 a person to attend.
So I think a concert is a pretty celebratory thing, and I'd love to think about that as a celebration of our 70th years, of course. But we can't really have cake and candles. We kind of, I don't know if anybody was there for our May concert this past year. We were honoring our first responders in the midst still and really the throes of the pandemic. We somehow tricked the CCC staff to let us have candles in the space, if anybody was there remembers. But we're not really allowed to have open flames on the stage of the Capitol Civic Center. So we can't really have birthday cake and candles, alas. But having a birthday party, you can. At a birthday party, you can play Pin the Tail on the Conductor or whatever. You can play kinds of games. You're more free to dance. I mean, anybody is welcome to dance in the aisles at our concert on April 9th. Of course, you're more than welcome to get up and dance, but probably people are going to feel inhibited to do so. And so to have a band, to have a rock band playing maybe some people know in the community, making music for us. I think it's just more of a party, just more of that. And so your $70 ticket, of course, goes to sponsor and support the MSO. It's a fundraiser, of course, always is a fundraiser, of course. But it also pays for heavy apps, as well as you get a drink ticket with that $70. So you get food and a drink for $70, and you support the symphony and live music and dancing and games. It's a pretty good deal if you think about it that way.
Yeah, really. And especially if you haven't had a chance to spend time inside the new venue, it is beautiful. It's a great, gorgeous location, Cream City brick walls all around. It's a beautiful place to enjoy an event. You're supporting the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra. And if you're, local, you probably know the band Outta Time with Biff Hansen and his crew. They have been making great rock music on the Lakeshore for a number of years. Not quite 70, but maybe since the 70s.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. I mean, since your people are doing this online, Command End or whatever, open up a new window while you're watching this. Type in the venue, Manitowoc, and you'll find the link really quick. It is gorgeous. Skylights, exposed brick, a beautiful bar. It's a lovely venue.
Yeah, and it does take support to keep something like the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra going for another 70 years. Thanks to everyone that has gone before and gotten the symphony to 70 years. Let's make it go another 70 years. I love the steps that the symphony is taking. So, for example, with your support, the symphony is now bringing music education right into the schools, right? There are musicians that are working with the students to become the next generation, essentially, of symphony players.
We would be nothing without those who came before us, of course, and we will be nothing without those current youths who will come up to take our spots, right? So I think it's of a dire import that we support as much as we can educationally in our community. So that's one of my big pushes, is to do more and more and more and more education. So the cool thing that we started this year and will hopefully go on next year and beyond is we've got an artist in residence program that's spanning the entire year, that's working with our middle school orchestra students. So we've got a trio from the orchestra, violinist, a violist, and a cellist, every month going out during the academic year and working with our middle school students in their classroom. It's fine and good to offer one educational concert or go in and offer some master class or whatever, but these one hit and you're out of there, or making someone come into your space, it's not, I don't think, as long lasting and as meaningful as engaging kids in their space regularly and forming relationships. Because again, if music's all about people, then let us make those personal connections. So of course our trio that's working with our middle school students are offering supplemental instruction and all that kind of stuff, but more so, they're mentors to these young kids. They're demonstrating this is what it can sound like, this is how cool it can be, and really pushing. Maybe my foremost thing is pushing all the transferable skills that you can get with music. Of course, diligence and language and math and leadership and listening. I mean, all the skills. I won't go on and on, but all the skills that are, I think, why we study music and why it's important to have in our lives, just to have a more civil and awesome society. We listen to each other, understand each other, and can work together, as any musical ensemble does, to have a healthier, better city. I think there should be an office in City Hall for an orchestra, or maybe any music or whatever. But for an orchestra, I think there should be an office in City Hall to support this kind of collaboration and music making, to support these ideals. So this artist in residence, this trio that we have in the middle schools, I think is so important, because then those sixth graders are going to be even more advanced seventh graders, and more advanced eighth graders, and more advanced ninth graders, and it'll become a generational thing of hopefully of mentorship and taking whatever skills they're learning in their orchestra into whatever job they have. Doesn't matter what it is. They're not necessarily going to be musicians, but whatever job they have, they're going to be better listeners, hopefully, communicators, leaders, more diligent, project-based employees, whatever, independent evaluators of one's own schedule, blah blah blah. So I'm very happy about this, and hopefully we can do more and more and more of these kinds of projects where we are working over many years with our students, connecting professionals and the youth who are interested in music in much more of a meaningful way.
I love it. Dylan, thank you so much. So mark your calendars, folks. Our Sound, the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra, celebrating 70 years. It is this coming Saturday April 9th, 7:30 p.m. The Informants with Jim Miller starts at 6:45 p.m. I think you do not want to miss this performance. And then you can further support the symphony and celebrate on April 23rd, again, Saturday, at the venue at Union Square with a birthday celebration. It's all quite awesome.
That's
Yes.
my noisemaker. I don't have one.
I feel like the tiny people in this picture with the
Yes,
birthday
I love the
hats.
hats you put on there. Yes.
We should have had birthday hats for this show and noisemakers. Anyway, Dylan, thank you so much. It is always so fun to talk to you. It is so fun to think about music and the important role that it can play in our lives. I love your idea of having a music and these ideals represented at a governmental level. That is brilliant. All right.
Don't tell the mayor that yet. We got to get him more under our wing.
Yeah, we'll see if he's watching.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. And Dylan, you are awesome. And so is every member of the Symphony Orchestra. Make sure you let them know that we'll be excited to see them perform on Saturday.
Awesome.
All right, thanks everybody for watching Coffee on the Coast. We'll see you next time.